This design is a cute little sun design made with a notch tool, and it is just an arch, so it's super easy. This is what I'll be using to make it with. You may choose to use something else. I'll be using texture paste mix of joint compound, modelling paste and craft paint. You may choose to just use modelling paste or a gel. If my canvas isn't primed, I would prime it with 2 coats of gesso. I'm going to be using a trowel shaped palette knife, a paint scraper and a notched tool, also called an adhesive spreader. I'm also going to seal my art with interior house paint in 2 colours, white and gold. I'll be making my art on a pre-primed canvas. If you buy a canvas and it's not already primed, you'll need to apply 2 coats of gesso. If your canvas is a little bit floppy, then spray it with water the night before you do the gesso. The other thing about this design is it is super flexible, so you can do it with any medium. I chose to make a texture paste, and my texture paste is a mix of 3/4 cup of joint compound, 2 tablespoons of modelling paste and 1 tablespoon of craft paint. I mixed it very, very well before I applied it to the canvas. Measurements are always very approximate. It depends on what products are available to you and your climate. Just go with what feels right. When I applied it to the canvas, I worked it the whole way around and pressed it firmly in. I'm trying to eliminate as many air bubbles as possible. Eliminating air bubbles helps a lot with prevention of cracking, but we'll talk about that later in the video. I'm trying to get a nice smooth surface. The smoother the surface, the easier it is to create an arch. I'm going to get my notched tool next. I'm going to measure the center of the canvas and work out where I'm going to do my arch. Now this time I'm going to show you very simply what will happen if I don't add extra paste before creating the arch. So as you can see, there's a few little gaps in the arch. Now I want to try and prevent that if possible. It really doesn't matter because once you've painted it, you're not even going to notice it. When extra paste is added, you'll see it gets dragged around your art, creating lovely peaks. So you apply your extra paste, you hold your notch tool in the center, apply even, firm pressure, and your tool is at a 30-degree angle. And as you can see, there's lovely peaks now. Before we get back to the sun, I want to show you 2 more things. First of all, the angle of the notch tool. I always have it at a 30 to 40-degree angle. The other thing is I wanted to show you if you were ever using your notch tool on the side of the canvas, if you ever did an arch on the side. It's wonderful to use your finger as a guide. You lean your notch tool on your finger and you drag it up, and that is the best way to get a nice straight line. Back to the sun, I've taken a trowel-shaped palette knife, but you could use a finger or any shaped palette knife or the tip of any tool that you have, and I'm making my sun rays. So I'm trying to keep my tool as clean as possible, and I'm not pressing so hard that I'm exposing canvas, but you can if you want to. Anything goes with this design. So I'm doing my rays, and as I turned my canvas around, I realized that I didn't like the smoothness of the background, and you will see how easy it is to smooth it over with a palette knife or any tool and redo different areas. So I've left it here on purpose because I want to show you how easy it is. It's literally just like using a knife with butter on toast. You just spread and then you go over what you wanted to do. You'll also see that I do the same at the top of the canvas as well. I think in this case, my bracelet might have knocked the canvas. Because I use texture paste, I'm just going to talk about the next steps using texture paste. I'll put my art aside for 24 to 48 hours to dry. If there's any cracks, which are very common, just refer to my free video on cracks in textured art and my free PDF. All you have to do is mix up a little bit of texture paste again and seal your crack. It's really important that you never speed up the drying process with joint compound art. Heaters, sunlight, air conditioners, fans, they all speed up the drying process. So try and let your art dry as slowly as possible. When your art is dry, then you're going to paint it with interior house paint. I chose to do 2 coats of white interior house paint to seal it. I then chose to paint the sun with gold interior house paint. I always allow drying time in between each coat of paint and then drying time when it's done. Now, if I did this with an art medium, I may have mixed coloured paint into the medium ahead of time, although you can paint it afterwards. And don't forget to varnish it if you use an art medium. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy painting, everyone.